From the Channel Seed Studios, welcome to The Hook. A look behind the lines with Mike Palm and Ken Miller. Powered by Circa Sports Iowa. Sports betting the way it should be. This is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to a late week installment of The Hook. That's Mike Palm, Vice President of Operations at Circa Sports. My name is Ken Miller. Along with Trent Condon, I talk sports on Des Moines Sports Station, 106.3 KXNO every Monday through Friday from 11 until 1. It is the first Saturday in May. Today being Friday, Kentucky Oaks has just been run, pretty mischievous, 10-1. Got the Lilies. They'll run for the Roses tomorrow, but the Phillies run for the Lilies at Churchill Downs. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Kentucky Derby tomorrow with Mike Palm. We'll take a look at Major League Baseball and the winter sports, move on. NHL, which I have no clue about, and the NBA as well. Little MLB tossed in. Circa Survivor, Circa Millions. The tease is out. We'll show you that tease at the end of the program. But let's head to Las Vegas. And how are you, Mike Palm?
I'm good, Ken. Can't wait for you and Trent to get out here in a couple days and spend some time with you. The weather's been cool. You guys will be here Monday night for the big watch party at Stadium Swim for Game 3 of Oilers Knights.
How many people do you expect? 500?
Oh, we did Game 4 from Winnipeg, and I think we were just short of 2,500 people.
Oh, my. So it'll be packed. I mean, this is the next round for crying out loud. And this is Edmonton and McDavid and Draisaitl. Well, let's start with the hockey before we get into the Derby. Mike, as you know, I love to bet futures, and I thought I had the Stanley Cup surrounded. This is the worst I've ever done when betting futures. I'm down to Carolina. I've got a little bit on Edmonton and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I don't like the Leafs' chances of winning 4 out of the next 5. I know your Boston ticket went by the wayside, but you told us about that Dallas Stars ticket way back. I didn't buy in. I didn't follow you there, but you were onto something. This Stars team's legit.
Kenny, I lost you after I don't like the Leafs' chances.
Yeah, we're having storms here in Iowa, so I'll just repeat it. Yeah, I don't like the Leafs' chances. You had a big ticket on the Bruins, but you also have a decent ticket on the Dallas Stars. You tried to convince me to go with you on the Stars, but I wasn't about to go down that path. I sure wish I would have.
Yeah, I think we missed Florida here. If not having a future on them, we should have played them in the series. I got out a little bit with them in the third period when they were down 1. I couldn't really in game become early because they got up to a 2-0 lead, and then you were stuck. But when Boston took the lead back, I was able to, get my ticket price plus a little more back on that. But so disappointing because I thought we would get Boston and Dallas in the Final Four, and then, I could pick my price, how much I wanted to profit out of it. It certainly would have been 5 figures, but it's strange. I have a little bit on Carolina at 9-1. Maybe they win it. I don't love it. I didn't ever pull the trigger with Edmonton. So I think Dallas beats Seattle. I'm really not concerned. I know they lost Game 1. If they play that game 1,000 times, Dallas wins 650 of them or more. When's odds you're going to give up 3 goals in 52 seconds again? I think Dallas is okay, and I think if Dallas plays the Knights, they'll be okay because I don't think the Knights can score on Dallas. I think they'll hold the Knights to 2 goals or less in the majority of the games. Edmonton presents more problems, especially with the power play. But so I'm still alive, but disappointed that Boston isn't there because that was a big ticket monetarily. It's hard. I'm not betting individual games. I'm an under better. I can't bet unders. I mean, it's a parade to the penalty box. So it's just watching it and enjoying hockey, but really not being able to take advantage of it from a betting perspective.
You guys hung an interesting prop when it comes to the NHL. I think it was early in the week before the second round of the playoffs. American teams versus the Canadian teams. Of course, Edmonton thought a lot of folks thought that they could come out of the West. Toronto was after Boston got knocked out, the favorite to come out of the East. What kind of action did you see on that prop, Mike? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, we took a little bit Canadian, and I think it was a way to hedge the Knights for people that had the Knights.
Oh.
nothing significant. I think it might have got to 5 figures in the wagering, but nothing significant. But I know it favored the Canadian teams, and I thought it was probably because of Edmonton.
I've been in Las Vegas when the Knights have had a regular season game, and on the road. I mean, I've been to regular season games at T-Mobile. But what's the playoffs like, and what will it be like at Stadium Swim on Monday night, or all across the footprint on the Strip, etc.? Will every place get banged out for these events, Mike?
Yeah, everybody comes out. All the local people come out since they obviously won't be in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And it's not like a drive to LA or Phoenix to watch them against the Kings or the Ducks or the Coyotes, right? It's you're and probably almost impossible to get a ticket there anyhow. They like at T-Mobile, you can't wear the other team's colors. They don't let you sell
the arena.
No part of no anywhere in the lower bowl where it might get caught on camera.
Right.
And they don't let you sell your tickets either. They don't let you sell your tickets to season ticket holders to people from the municipalities that you're playing. So they try to protect the home ice. But it's really rabid. I mean, when I said we did the game 4 against Winnipeg, I think it was the 4th time Garage Mahal ever got full. And because there's so many locals driving their cars down, right? So
sure,
it actually got full on that Monday night, and we expect it to be full again when you're out here in a few days.
Well, looking forward to it. Looking forward to participating in it. And there's no better time zone, in my opinion, for watching sports than the Pacific time zone. It's just ideal, right? So Saturday morning kickoff at 9:00 in the morning, for crying out loud.
Well, the year I lived in Atlantic City was just brutal. I mean, and that's when the Cubs were. That's 2003. That's when the Cubs were. That was the Bartman and all that when they had 3-1 on the Marlins. Yeah, I mean, you're waiting till 1 p.m. for the NFL to. I mean, it's just insane. And then I worked a swing shift where here everything's over, but the night game there, I mean, the afternoon games aren't even over. Where you got to get ready for work at halftime of the afternoon. So that's insanity. I mean, you're wasting so much time on the front end, and then the West Coast games are starting at 10:30 at night. I think it's awful.
I do too. One of the reasons I'm looking forward to becoming a resident in the Pacific time zone. So let's do real quick on the NBA. Golden State and the Lakers have to be the most popular series as far as handle, correct? By a long shot or no?
Yeah, it's if you add the other 3 series together, it's only a little bit more than what they're doing on the Lakers and Golden State. And there's some action on the Phoenix.
Denver?
It's the second one. Not a ton on Knicks Miami. There's a little bit of Boston love in the Sixer one, but no, this is, and I talk about 2,500 people coming out for the Knights game. They will go head to head with the Lakers and Golden State on Saturday and Monday because the NHL stretched out this schedule. I don't like it 1 game a day. I just go 2 every other day. But anyhow, we'll have the watch party at Stadium Swim and at Bar Canada. We'll have the volume on the Knights, and probably every other venue will have the volume on the Lakers and Golden State.
Yeah, I heard that there's a lot of people that came from Edmonton to try and get a ticket to the Knights game 2 in particular, thinking that the game 2 would be played tonight, and they booked their hotels and they booked their flights, and then the NHL pushed it back a day. A lot of very upset Canadians, Mike.
Well, I'm sure, because we all assumed what the pattern was. It was Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, and we hated it. It's bad for us because this would have been great tonight, and now it's going up between the Kentucky Derby's just ending, and then you have the Canelo fight later. It's probably cost us mid 5 figures in revenue them moving that game. It's bad. Been perfect tonight at 6:30.
Major League Baseball will finish up on the Kentucky Derby. Want to pick your brain on that? Get your thoughts. It looks as though it's going to be a fast track after there was a threat of rain earlier in the week that was supposed to get here for the weekend, but we know what the weather does. It's very inconsistent, and it's hard to predict, and it's going to be fast by all accounts, right? Is that what you're hearing?
Well, yeah, and I'm looking at these races today, and I mean, you had to be right there near the lead. There was nobody coming from out of the clouds. So I think that the track will be fast, and it looks very tight,
Mm-hmm. That's a really good tip to watch how these races are being won. Are they being won by horses on or near the lead, meaning they break out of the gate, they get there, and they're there at the very end, and horses that normally come from way back in the pack are unable to do so. Normally, the track plays pretty fair on Derby Day, but what's something to watch for Saturday? That more on that in a second. Major League Baseball, Mike. Since last time we spoke, what MLB team has caught your attention? Either positive or negative.
Well, the Dodgers are starting to play a little better. They rallied and had a couple wins, so they're looking, if I told you Clayton Kershaw had as many wins as the A's in the month of April, what would have been the number on that? But
yeah, really,
right?
Yeah.
And Urias hasn't really been great. Syndergaard's been bad, so they're around there. So we had a guest on VSiN yesterday, Will Hill, who's based out of the East Coast, who won the college basketball handicapping contest that Matt Newman's had. But one of his plays that he had, one of his bets he made was Mets to miss the playoffs plus 270, right? And I said, okay, then you tell me for this bet, outside of the Dodgers and Braves, who are the other 4 National League playoff teams that are going to get there that aren't the Mets? He goes, I can't really answer you that. I'm saying, well, when you make that bet, I guess you could argue Phillies. To get Harper back, they've got to get off that Kimbrel's a closer, though. They got to make that decision quick because he can't. No, and they have enough other arms in their bullpen that I think they can cut bait with him and still be okay. But the Centrals, the Cardinals, God, do they look awful? I think they're out of it. I mean, I
agree.
And I don't think Marmol makes it through the season. I wouldn't think, but
I wouldn't think he makes it through Memorial Day if they keep playing like this.
Yeah, it's bad. I look at Pittsburgh. They went to Tampa Bay. They got beat up. I look at Pittsburgh and I just look at the rotation. Can it hold up? Can you keep throwing Richie Hill out there? Can Mitch Keller win you 15? I don't know if you can, even if you're scoring 4.5, 5 runs a game. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think the White Sox all of a sudden win a couple games in a row. It's not that far-fetched that this team, as much as we beat them up and they lost 10 or 11, that could still win that division. I mean, what are they, 6 out, 7 out? That's not over. Because
I bet them at 7.5 to 1 to win the.
You could have.
I found the number 7.5 to 1, Mike, to win the division 2 weeks ago, and I took it.
Yeah. You can get that. You could got them at 35 to 1 to win the American League. I mean, that division, Minnesota and Cleveland are okay. You know what I mean? But they're not. Okay. You're not going to run away and hide. So the White Sox become interesting if they figure it out. I mean, they're chanting "sell the team" every night, and maybe they just got to rock bottom. But you look at the names; they're supposed to be better. So my friend texted me today. He said, if I gave you $500 and said, go bet it on a team to win the World Series today, you got to make the bet today. Who would you bet it on? I said, I guess I'd take the Braves because to me, they're the most likely. They're the most likely team to win it in my mind. Minter hasn't been great at the back. I think they need to shore up the back end of the bullpen a little bit. But to me, I said this before the year. I just think they're the best team. They're the deepest team, the deepest rotation.
No, I'll go back to what your buddy that bet the Mets and he couldn't come up with the teams. Yeah. If the Phillies are one, I mean, the Padres have to be another one. So,
well, don't they say Atlanta? Well, you say exactly. You say Atlanta, Dodgers, Padres, Phillies, Brewers, and then who's the other wild card that's going to be better than the Mets? He said maybe Arizona. I said He said it's I mean,
I think
Cubs,
they're a year away.
I don't know. I don't know, but I just think when you say no to the Mets, you've got to figure out who are the other teams that you think that are going to be ahead of them at the end.
Absolutely. One more on baseball.
Outside of Atlanta, to me, the National League is extremely mediocre. And you look at the AL East, and every team, even Boston's playing decent baseball, right? Yeah. They're scoring a lot of runs. Baltimore is good. I thought Baltimore would be good. I said bet the head-to-head matchup Baltimore more than Boston. I thought I'd have a big lead by now. It's not that big. Every team's above 500. It's interesting. That's I think the Yankees are a little bit in trouble here, playing in such a good division.
Well, the Yankees and the Cardinals, both of those teams mired in last place in their respective divisions. The Blue Jays have lost 5 straight. They're going the wrong way, but they're still 18 up and 14 down. Despite that, your point's well taken. That division is it's impossible. You ready to talk about the Derby?
Sure.
Where does this rank on your list of yearly sporting events? Is the first Saturday in May one of those ones you circle that that you're going to be pumped up trying to figure out who's going to win this thing?
No, I much prefer the Breeders'
Do
Cup,
you?
and
Yep.
I do. And I mean, I like it because the undercards are so good today and tomorrow,
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. There's a lot of betting and even at other tracks, they bring out all their best races. So it's a good racing. But to try the dirt, I mean, I love how people get pumped up and they dress up and they have a great time. It's like Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's a social event and all that, but it's tough to have 20 horses and traffic problems, and it's a tough handicap to me, but you get a hell of a lot of value because of it. I mean, if you can identify. So I always try to take a price shot every year. I mean, the last horse I took that was a favorite was the horse that got DQ'd, that's the 7 horse a couple years ago.
Yeah.
At 4.5 to 1 or whatever he went off at. And I said, oh, geez, and I never thought he'd get DQ'd, even watching the replays. I mean, they went to the steward's room and the judge, and the woman's got a half-eaten sandwich there. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then they took him down. But I always try to find a little bit of a price here because unless I think a horse is just so heads and above, and that this is a horse that's going to win a Triple Crown, and this is a horse, I think there's a lot more fun to try to find somebody 8 to 1 or better.
There was a 5-year period not too long ago that I hated this race because the favorite won every year, and I've refused to bet the favorite, and I won't do so again today. In fact, I mean, I think Forte, you've seen all the social media buzz about this horse all week long. I expected to wake up this morning and hear that he's going to be scratched. I mean, there's a lot of buzz on the backside.
A guy that's close to the people at Churchill that actually is from there told me he's going to be scratched. He said, we all saw him take the bad step.
Right.
Look, his buyer number's not getting any better. I'm very unimpressed by the Florida Derby. I just drew a line through him. I didn't even include him in the exotics. I mean, that's the stand I'm taking.
I like it. I mean, that's the way you'd have to do it. So give me a couple of price horses that you like before I show my cards.
I keyed the 2, Verifying.
Verifying.
I try to handicap the speed, I try the pace in the race. And there's several different, there's probably 4 or 5 horses that can make front. I think he's got the best chance. I know those inside posts are tough, but I don't think there's anything around him going to push him. I think he has a gap here where he can run out there and make the front. And the track was tight today. I think you need to be near the front. I actually had told some people that liked him to bet him at the fixed odds because with Forte might be scratched. It's better to bet him at the fixed odds now.
Yeah.
Right? If you like a long shot, if you think there's something that might be up with Forte, because everybody's price is going to drop dramatically if he gets scratched. And I put him, so he was 16 to 1 here at Circa right now, Verifying. I put him with a couple of the other likely candidates. I put him with the 5, Tap It Trice, and I put him with the 14 and 17 as well. I thought about the 8 a little bit. I might include him with the 8, but I wheeled him up and down in some exactas and a couple 10-cent tries where I went, 1 over 5 overall, and 5 over 1 overall, and 5 overall over 1 overall. If he finishes in the top 3, I get a shot to hit a try there.
Yeah, I like the way you're going about it. I'm with you. I won't bet Forte at all. Verifying Jason Luch, who I did a podcast with earlier in the week. We asked him today on the radio, just before you came on. I asked him, "Who's the horse that you're scared of?" He said, "Verifying." That was the one. That was the first name out of his mouth. I like this. We did Dick Girardi. You ever hear Dick Girardi, longtime writer, Philadelphia Daily News? Trent and I had him on Thursday. I said, "Give me a horse that nobody's talking about that you're going to put on your tickets." He said, number 7, Reincarnate. He thinks that if it's not Verifying in front, it's going to be Reincarnate that goes to the front, and he thinks he might get a run for his money, and he's a big price. You said something a minute ago I want to pick up on. Fixed odds versus parimutuel wagering. You're offering them both right now. What kind of what do you guys see? Do you see more people interested in betting fixed odds, or do you see more people because they don't understand fixed odds from horses that gravitate to the parimutuel pools? What do you see more
In
of?
in terms of the handle, there will be more money bet on parimutuels. There'll be more people betting fixed, but the fixed odds bettors are $5, $10, $20, and the people betting parimutuels are betting a lot more money, right? That are used to parimutuel. But for novice people, some of them are not comfortable with you make a bet and your horse is 7-2 and he closes at 5-2. That which could happen with Forte if he goes. They want to bet a ticket like you do at the window. You're getting 6, you get 6. Not it closed at 4, you get 4. So it's simpler and cleaner, the fixed odds for the novice bettor.
Yeah, it absolutely is. What about I know you mentioned number 17, Derma Sotogate, who's apparently named after a wrestler, and the guy who owns it is a dermatologist, so that's how Derma is in the name. What do you make of this horse?
I think the horse has the ability to be close enough that he can be in the number. He's probably the 4th or 5th choice now. I mean, he's hovering around 9 or 10-1. What he goes off at, it'll depend on what happens tomorrow. But I looked at horses I thought could pass verifying, and he's one of them. I agree about Reincarnate. When I said there's 4 or 5 horses that can make the lead, he's right there. I had him second and my most likely to have the lead at the quarter.
Yeah, of course, there's 3 Iowa-owned horses. You're betting on one of them, as am I, Angel of Empire. I love the way this horse is coming into this race. I truly believe, and Lucien and Alba, I think this is their 5th Derby horse, if they include Patio Prado they had in partnership. This is their best chance by a mile. I mean, it's not even close. He can win, can he, Mike?
Oh, yes, he absolutely can win. And I think if Forte's scratched, he might go off the favorite.
Him or Tapit Trice.
They're going to both be like 5-1, I think, if Forte's scratched, 9-2. And he absolutely can win the race. And I really hope he does for Iowa and for your guys there. I mean, it would be such a great story.
No, it really would. What's Derby weekend like in Las Vegas? Is it an event that people travel to Las Vegas to be part of?
Yeah, most hotels will have big parties. They'll have them in a ballroom somewhere. We really have Stadium Swim, the Sports Book, the 12th floor Detroit Ballroom, and Legacy Club. 4 very different parties, but I mean, people love it. It's like Super Bowl. I mean, they come there, they don't know anything, but they bring their wives. Women participate, right? That's what I would say about sports, the low participation of women. Even that Maddox poker tournament, right? We had 80 players, 2 women. I mean, it's just the participation of women. It has to be something that they're interested in. Football is one of things that they can be interested in, right? The NFL appeals to women, and they're a big part of Super Bowl with the advertising and all that. And Derby Day does, because, they get a chance to dress up and participate in a social affair and take their shot with their $20 or whatever and try to pick a horse for whatever reason they do and get the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
I'll give everybody watching this a little piece of advice. If you're ever going to the Derby and you don't have a real good get on the plane early ticket, if you're one of the last, check your luggage, because every one of the overhead space has a hat box in it with all the hats that make their way out to Louisville. Mike, we'll see you in Las Vegas at Circa on Monday. We'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to end by taking a look at the commercial. This is the tease for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. When will we know definitively what the guarantee is and what the rule changes will be? Will we know in a couple of weeks?
I think we are going to announce 3 weeks from yesterday, which would be the 25th. It might be earlier in that week, but that weekend leading into Memorial Day, we'll have the rules out and you'll be able to sign up.
Look forward to it, and we'll be back in August and bringing a bunch of people with us. Have a wonderful weekend. Good luck in the Derby. We'll leave you with a look at the Circa Survivor, Circa Millions tease. We'll know more about it in 3 weeks. We'll talk to you next week here on The Hook, part of the Iowa Everywhere Network. We'll see you next time.
Hey, Derek, what's the guarantee?
Hey, Derek, what's the guarantee?
The package is en route.
Derek, what's the guarantee?
Get ready for more millions. Guaranteed. Circa Millions and Circa Survivor will be bigger than ever. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. Go to circusports.com for more information.